Hello, everybody. So today I'm going to be talking about my workplace. Currently, I work on an Alzheimer's and dementia unit at a long-term and rehab facility. For today, we're going to be looking at it through the lens of ethnography, centrism, and cultural relevance. Uh, the first question was, is this place ethnocentric or culturally relevant? I would say it's kind of both. There are times where I feel like we try to meet the residents' needs culturally, which is kind of huge in dementia care because like those are things that like stick to them. That I don't know. For me personally, like there's a even if it's not the resident, it's the family. So that come in like they really are like you can see the people who are like very tied into their culture. Like it reflects in the resident's room. Like you see a lot of crosses or like you'll see the Bible, you'll see a lot of paintings of Jesus and stuff like that. So I feel like even if it's not the resident who can like speak out about it, it ties in to their demands and needs when it comes to giving them care. Um, I don't know. I guess it just all depends. Really who's working at the moment and if they're trying to see things from the resident's background to really give them proper care. Um, Question number two was why do I say that? Um, I would say because you'll see things like certain foods, music, or the ways residents express themselves get overlooked sometimes. Staff don't always mean it in a bad way, but I feel like we like we're all very different, and it's just people default to what they know, I guess you could say. And on the Alzheimer's unit, culture shows up in small ways. So it's like very important to pay attention to those details. And if you aren't paying attention to those details, it's very hard to like really give care to the resident. Like I have two residents right now. Like one is Spanish speaking and very tied into his culture, and one is English speaking but tied into his culture, but he talks a lot. So between the two, like a lot of times I notice that the Spanish speaking one really won't get as much care as the English speaking one, but they're both like very tied into the religion. So a lot of things they do are based off the religion. And even though it's like Alzheimer's unit, they kind of do have their like sense to themselves. And for example, with the Spanish speaking resident, I feel like a lot of times care is kind of like not given properly based on him. Like there's a lot of things he doesn't agree with, and I feel like the lack of communication based off a lot of people not being able to speak Spanish plays a big tie into that, where they don't understand like he likes things a certain way, he likes things at a certain time, where he feels uncomfortable, and that could just be based off like how he was raised and his values and morals. Like I don't know, it goes so deep into it, but like I always express it to other people. There's a lot of times I come in and nurses are like, oh, he refused everything, but like when I come in, because I can speak a little bit of Spanish, it's easier for me to give care. And then I'll explain to the nurse like, oh, he was trying to communicate this to you, but you weren't being very much receptive of what he was trying to say, so he just kind of was ignoring you. So it just gets, I don't know, the phrases they repeat, like it's just the way they are. Like I don't know, the way they handle stress. I feel like when we miss out on cultural clues, like the resident definitely feels it, and their reaction towards it is to just not want care. So I feel like it's just important to pick up on those small cues. Um, Question number three was, has leadership tried to fix ethnocentric stuff? I would say they have tried. We've had trainings on cultural sensitivity and dementia communication. They talk about being aware of different backgrounds and trying to understand behaviors through the lens. But I feel like it's kind of hard if people aren't very like understanding and people default to their own cultural standards. And being that we already work in a dementia and Alzheimer's unit, it's kind of hard to communicate with residents and understand them because they're just not all there. And a lot of times people get frustrated. Like it's already a hard enough work field to deal with, and I feel like a lot of people just don't take the time to get to learn the residents to care for them properly. Like there are very good nurses at my job that take the time to understand, but like there are a lot of nurses and CNAs that don't. And I would say like that's why their care impacts how the resident feels towards them. Like you always know when you're doing a good job because your residents love you. You know you're doing a bad job if your residents dislike you. And I just feel like that just goes to show like your understanding of them and what their basic wants and needs. Question number 4 was how well did it work? Like I said, I feel like it just helped a little, but not perfectly. Some people take it serious, some people don't. It really just depends on who's working and how they open up towards the resident and how they adjust the way they care. Question number 5 was, what do I wish they would do? I would say I wish that they would pay more attention to the residents and make it a bigger part of the care plans. Like for me personally, with my resident who's English speaking but very into his Catholic religion, I recently this past weekend learned so much about him, which like helped me give him proper care. And like, not that I was not giving him proper care, but like it helped me be able to give him care based off his needs because I was able to understand how he was. Like I understood that he is a big talker. He loves to talk about religion, but if you sit there and you understand, like he is very much understanding of if you gotta go, you gotta go, but just, help me get what I need done and I won't bother you, but just settle me for the night. Or, I started to understand that like he likes to watch his programs every day at 7 in the morning and he needs a wait. So at 6:20 we have a deal where if I wake him up at 6:20, he's ready on the dot. We get him ready, get him up, take his weight, and get him ready for his program. It's just so much like you can do, and just like focusing in on that, I feel like it just helps. Learning just what kind of music they grew up on, what foods they love, what their morning routine used to be. You can kind of like incorporate their old lives into their new lives essentially, because that's what it is. Like this is new to them. They're coming into a long-term facility, and then this is basically where they're going to spend the rest of their lives. So like we want to try to make it as comfortable and as normal to their previous life as possible. I would just say that it matters in the dementia because those memories are the ones that stick the longest. I also wish we just had like more conversations or workshops with people from those cultures and not just PowerPoints, because it's kind of hard to really feel the message. It's kind of like reading a book and just to get the assignment done, but not really understanding it. And I feel like we've all done that at some point, and I feel like that happens a lot because it's such a heavy workload in the nursing field. So a lot of people just try to get things done instead of like properly taking the time to understand a lot of things. 6 is, how did this material change my perspective? I would say going through all this made me look at my workplace, I wouldn't say differently or not differently. I would say like for me personally, instead of just seeing a unit, or like my workplace, like where I work with Alzheimer's and dementia residents, I kind of see them as, an environment of different cultures, like different people who have different backgrounds and pasts. Like it's so interesting to me to just really sit there and learn about people because, although people are dealing with dementia and Alzheimer's, like there will be flashes of like their old lives coming through, or like if family members visit, you can hear a book and, it just reflects your care, and they'll give you a whole story of like who this person used to be. Sometimes it makes me a little sad, except like, there's a few nurses at my job, people who used to be doctors, people who graduated from Notre Dame and went to like prestigious schools. So it's like, it's just weird. It makes me look at life like you got to take every moment as it comes and like, just be present in the moment, because you never know, like it could be you one day where you lose all aspects of your life in the blinking of an eye just because you can't remember, So I don't know. I feel like it just made me more aware of how the small things could come off as ethnocentric without us realizing it, and it reminded me how important it is in dementia care to respect someone who someone is, and not, just treat their symptoms, because even though they can't understand what they're doing and they aren't who they used to be and they can't communicate that properly, doesn't mean that they aren't that person. It's just, it's up to us to care for them. Like, that's our job to understand that. And I feel like a lot of times if we were just given, like, I don't know how to explain it. If we were just given a guideline to follow, like, this is what this person's life was like, I feel like it'd be easier to break down, like, and understand their needs. But, it's a little tough. But that's how I feel about it. Thank you for listening. Like, comment, subscribe. Have a good day. Thank you.